In 3, 2, 1, go, Coach.
Buckle up, everybody. Grab your popcorn and get settled in. Because if you're waiting for some medium sports information, that's what we're bringing. Let's go! Sports Wednesday.
Awesome. Everybody, that's the second intro of the night, and they have both been top-notch. So, fantastic. A little bit of technical difficulties on our first try, but great work, Maestro, keeping the energy up. And Coach, your first intro, I thought it went pretty well. I'll give you a C-.
Thank you. I'll take it. That's passing. Damn. Jeez, C-.
Harsh.
It's like sandpaper.
Hello, everybody. I'm Pete Brown, and this is Sports Wednesday, sports talk for the medium fan. I'm the big man on campus, and joining me from the only David Blatt-themed putt-putt course in the United States, it's the coach, basketball legend, Matt Longley. How are you, Coach?
Pretty good. I just got a hole-in-one through the Blatt Tunnel. Next is the Blatt Hole.
And he's raising the temperature at Hake House Basement with his sick guitar licks. It's the Maestro, Brian Hake. How are you, Maestro?
I'm real excited to open my gift.
Very good. Yeah, that's coming up later in the show. We'll get to that. I noticed, Maestro, you put Terry Bradshaw in for your username tonight. Are you feeling a little nostalgic for the Stillers?
I'm always feeling nostalgic for the Stillers.
I'm
nice. Nice. Well, a big show tonight. In a first for us, we have a guest on the show. Now, we had tried this once before. We had booked a guest, and it didn't work out because the technology failed me, or I failed using the technology. But we got this one done. We recorded the interview last night, so we're going to have a football analyst, Cole Medvec, joining us in the second act to talk about the NFL draft.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. I listened to it today. It's pretty good. Coach, I basically cut all of your questions out because they made no sense.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, okay.
You just don't like good insight. That's fine.
So, folks, you can follow us on Twitter at Sport Wednesday. That's SPORT Wednesday. Or on Instagram at Sports Wednesday, which is the actual name of the show. I have not checked our Instagram followers lately, but we're approaching 500 on Twitter. That's going to be a big celebration. We're at 470 today, and I'm going to go ahead and call it and say we break 500.
I'm going to agree with you. Yes. Next week we make a 500.
All right. So how about a little social media music? Social media.
Just made that one up. Can't you tell?
Well, that was pretty good.
The Maestro, he was logged in early tonight practicing, and he sounds great. I'll tell you what.
Oh, he's got it dialed in.
He sure does. Let's jump into the playoffs, though. We've been leading off the show the last few weeks talking about the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. The Cleveland Cavaliers, it took them 7 games to beat the Indiana Pacers, but beat them they did, and they are right now losing to the Raptors by 3. About 4 minutes left in the game, so we'll keep an eye on that. What do you think about this Cavs-Raptors matchup there, Coach?
Well, I mean, like when I said for the Indiana Pacers game we had a matchup problem, I don't feel that for this. They match up real well with the Raptors, and it's showing tonight as they're going tit for tat with them. They're both very athletic, long teams. They both like to run up and down when they want to. They're very sporadic and streaky with their 3-point shots, which is shown tonight, where Toronto opened with a 62% shooting percentage, and then the Cavs followed. I think they came back with a 65% in one quarter. So, I mean, it goes – they like to run in streaks. So, I like this matchup. This is much better for the Cavs than it was for the Pacers.
Yeah, it didn't seem to be a whole lot of defense being played tonight, but the Cavs they were down by 10 for most of the game. They've just closed it. They pulled within 3 right at the end of the third quarter on some great shooting by Kyle Korver. He's stepped up right now. He's got 16 points. LeBron James at 22 points. I want to talk about Jonas Valanciunas because it seemed like when he was on the court and Tristan Thompson was not on the court, the Raptors had the advantage. And then when we brought Thompson in, it seemed to even that out.
Yeah, and they talked to the coach too. I think it was in between the third and the fourth quarter, and they were talking about what was the difference. And they said, well, whenever the Cavs go small, they brought him in, and then they started to going like old school and trying to put it in the post, and it was working like a charm. So that's definitely some strategery that they're playing against each other and trying to get that guy some minutes.
Very good, yeah. And I should.
So wait.
Go ahead.
So Toronto has a basketball team?
Right. Just like Jacksonville has a football team.
Isn't that a hockey town?
Nice.
You guys might not remember this, but there was a period of time, it might have been the late 70s or early 80s, when Ted Stepien owned the Cavs, and he wanted to move them to Toronto, and they were going to be called the Toronto Towers.
Oh, Towers.
Yeah, somehow the city leaders in Cleveland convinced him to stay.
Thank you, city leaders. Thank you very much.
You can take that to the bank.
What's your prediction for it there?
I say 6 games, Cavs. I think they're going to split it. They're going to split these two. And then I think they're going to take them all at home and then win one there. So
It's a trap.
I'm saying, is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say 4-2. 4-2 Cavs.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say it goes 7, just because, I did not think the Pacers were going to take them 7, despite their matchup problem with Victor Home Depot. It's so interesting because I don't even know what lineup works great for the Cavs anymore.
No.
I think Ty Lue just keeps throwing them out there till he finds something that clicks.
Well, and tonight he's getting a lot more production from the new guys too. I mean, he's got some. I mean, I have to say this because it makes me somewhat validated. Because as I'm watching, and I never watched the halftime show, and I'm watching Charles Barkley and Shaquille, and Charles Barkley is kind of angry, and he goes, "I don't know what LeBron thinks he's doing when he stands there and he has four guys standing around and watching him. That just doesn't work." He goes, "He's got some talented basketball players on his team. He needs to pass the ball, move the ball around, and play basketball." And I wanted to go through the TV and hug him and kiss him because I'm like, yes, that's what I've been saying for so many years.
Was that your Charles Barkley impersonation?
No, I didn't. If I have to work on Charles Barkley because that impression was terrible.
Nice. That was pretty good. A lot of people make fun of Shaq for his commentary, but I was watching him earlier this year and he said, hey, the Cavs don't play defense. And he was right.
He's very right.
So, okay, well, this game's still within 3 points. Maybe the Cavs will pull it out. Maybe not. We'll know before we're done recording tonight. How about other matchups in round 2? So Celtics are playing the Sixers, and then we've got Golden State is playing Utah. Is that correct?
No, Golden State
Golden State's playing New Orleans.
And then Houston's playing Utah.
I gotcha. So which one of these is a really compelling series that we should watch?
I kind of like the Jazz Rockets. I just think the Jazz are pretty interesting. I think they're the most interesting team in the playoffs right now, at least from my perspective, my weird perspective. But I think the Rockets will win, but I just think that series has got some
yes, sir.
It's got some mojo behind it.
You like the mojo? I mean, the Jazz do have a lot of young players. I mean, they basically unloaded a lot of they weren't supposed to compete this year. But they definitely are. I don't see that series as compelling. I really see nothing in the West compelling at all. I would say the Sixers in Celtics is interesting to me only because you've got the Celtics that are basically playing like scratch them, drag it out. Everybody keeps getting hurt, but Brad Stevens keeps coaching his ass off and they keep winning. And the Sixers are this young, kind of cocky team. And now they got punched in the face in game 1. Can they handle a series if it went 7? I don't know if they can. And I'd kind of like to see it.
Coach, I suspect that Brad Stevens is starting to enter Tom Izzo, Tom Brady territory for you.
He's getting close. he's getting very close. I do love me some Brad Stevens.
Very good. Let's move on to hockey there, Maestro. I know the Pens and the Caps are now the Caps are leading 2-1. They won 4-3 in their last game. Yep. Nashville and Winnipeg, that series is knotted at 1. What else should we be seeing here?
You got Vegas is up 2-1 over the Sharks, and then Tampa Bay and Boston are tied 1-1. So I think heads up up games going on right now. I think the Pens are in trouble. I think with Malkin hurt, and I think they've got a couple other guys that are banged up. I think Washington's definitely got the advantage right now, especially going up 2-1. So I'm a little nervous there. But I still like my Jets. My Winnipeg Jets are hot.
I like my Capitals and my six-pack that I'm going to drink. It's going to be so good.
That's right. The coach and the maestro threw down last time. It's a straight six-pack on who wins that series, Pens or the Caps. Okay. Anything else about the NBA playoffs or hockey?
Nope.
All right. Well, we're super efficient tonight. We're not the best medium-level sports show for nothing. The thing about watching the NBA playoffs is I always wish that while I'm watching the game, I could be playing a basketball-themed board game. And yet I'm not able to do it because Hoopsters, the greatest basketball-themed board game that ever was, has not yet reached the market. Why not, Coach?
Because it never is. It hasn't been created or taken to market yet. We're dragging our feet.
Arguably, it's been created. It simply just hasn't.
It has been created.
Hasn't been productized. So every week we do a little update on our efforts to get Hoopsters to market. Do we have any updates this week, Coach?
No updates. I think the next move of action is we need to actually get in the same room together and start putting that drill press together and do some experimenting on some drilling.
Okay, I think that's a good takeaway. And I would say my only update was I took the drill press box and I turned it sideways because I used it to set something on it that I had to spray paint this week.
That's progress. So, you moved the box.
That's right. Very good. All right.
It's always this time in the show where I think, I need to sign up for the newsletter.
Right, because it'd be weird if you had a computer in front of you and you could do it while you were talking, but I'm sure you couldn't. That'd be weird.
It is right. So the whole point of Sports Wednesdays is for us to get people to sign up for the Hoopsters newsletter, so you'll stay in the loop.
I hate you, Coach. I hate you, Coach.
Stay in the loop for when the game hits the market. Be the first amongst all your friends to get it, and we still to date have 2 subscribers. So
still 2.
All right, let's move on to Act 2, the NFL draft. And Act 2, we're going to share our interview with Cole Medvec here in a minute. But I wanted to get your guys' quick initial reactions to the draft, which happened last week.
I'll go first.
Okay, go.
So I was doing a little research before the show, reading about, who everybody thought was the best, who had the best draft, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know what the hell I was reading. I don't know who these players are.
Oh, I can't wait. Yes.
So my take is I'm going with the Giants because they're the only team that didn't want a quarterback, and I feel like Saquon Barkley is going to tear it up. So that's my pick.
Okay.
I don't care about all the quarterbacks; they're all a bunch of jokers. I'm going with the running back.
I'll tell you what, I'm awfully impressed with Saquon Barkley, and I would have drafted him, I think, as well. But like I always go back to, I thought Mike Ditka trading his whole draft for Ricky Williams was a reasonable thing to do, and that never worked out.
Oh God. I mean, the whole draft, obviously it started with such a punch in my face when the Browns made the choice that they did. It really started with anger and then disbelief, and then I had to try to accept it. I still don't accept the fact that they took Baker Mayfield. It still just doesn't feel right. But I think because of that pick, I really feel 2 teams won. One is the Jets got the quarterback I think they wanted in the first place. I think they wanted Darnold and played a smokescreen, the whole thing about Mayfield. I don't believe any of that stuff that people that had Mayfield that high. I really don't. And I also think the Broncos were going to accept a trade to anybody that wanted their position. But when they had a chance to get Bradley Chubb and put him with Von Miller, that just made them the best defense, maybe the best defense in the AFC West. So,
for sure, the AFC,
and that,
maybe the AFC.
Yes, and now they don't have to. They've got a bridge quarterback that they can use. They are now a contender just because of that one piece.
Yeah. Now, the Baker Mayfield pick, about a day before the draft, it started coming out that's who the Browns were taking. So at least we had 24 hours to process it.
But I still didn't believe it, though.
Taking Denzel Ward at 4 was surprising, I think, to everybody. And I just imagine the wild celebrations in the Denver Broncos hotel suite when that pick was announced.
Oh, my gosh. They were – I guarantee they had other people on the phone ready to make a trade for that pick because they didn't want anything else that was out there.
Yeah. And so on the strength of that pick, I also gave the nod to the Broncos. I thought that they're just going to be a much better team.
Yes. And it's funny because as Maestro was talking about, I did some research and I was looking and I did some research too. And I'm with you too, Maestro. Like after the first round, I don't know a lot of the players that people picked. So me trying to give a grade is like me trying to play the violin. It's I can do it. I'll make sound, but it's going to be really bad.
If we're still doing this podcast 4 years from now, let's reconvene and talk about this draft and see what's going on.
Okay, so yes, I love that. 4 years.
Okay, Siri, set a reminder for 4 years from today to talk about the NFL draft with Coach and Maestro.
We'll see how all these quarterbacks turn out. It's going to end up being some fourth round quarterback, that somebody picked up that's going to be like this badass.
Oh yeah.
So we Coach is right on that we are not really numbers analysts. So luckily we brought a numbers analyst on the show, and Cole Medvec. He runs the site rotocole.com. And Maestro, he gives us a little play-in music, and we'll go right to his interview.
All right. See if you guys recognize this one.
All right. That's you too. Desire. Is it Desire? Yeah. Desire. Yeah. Good call. That was fun.
Okay, everybody. This is a big day for Sports Wednesday. We've got our first guest on the line. It is football analyst Cole Medvec. Did I say that right, Cole?
Yep, that's correct.
Excellent. Cole's joining us from Cleveland, and joining us, as always, is the coach, basketball legend Matt Longley. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited.
Great. Now, Cole caught my attention on Twitter for a couple of reasons. I think he's the first person in the nation who's out with his 2019 mock draft already. Back on April 25th, he posted his 2019 QB rankings, and those caught my eye. And we're going to talk about those in a minute. But Cole, let's first talk about this draft that we just had. I looked at your mock draft. I know in your top 5, you posted that a few days before the draft came up, and then it seemed like really the day before the draft when it became clear the Browns were going to take Mayfield. But you were spot on in calling the Bills trading up to get Josh Allen. So why don't you just give us your reactions to those first 5 picks?
Yeah, so very psyched with the Browns. So I had Mayfield as my top quarterback, and as a Browns fan, so psyched about it. Very shocked with the Denzel Ward pick by the Browns. That was not what anyone expected, but after it happened, it totally made sense. Saquon Barkley, I thought was a bit of a reach. Who else was there? Broncos taking Quentin Nelson, totally obvious pick. But other than that, I mean, really, really exciting with this draft. I thought there was a lot of – so every draft has a lot of weird picks that people get taken, and everyone's like scratching their heads. This draft had a ton of those, but the picks that were awesome were very, very good for each team.
What did you think about the Browns picking Ward and not Chubb with the 4th pick?
So, in my opinion, the reason why they did it was because next year's draft is totally loaded at defensive end, and chances are they're going to have a top 10 pick. So, other than that, though, I mean, bit of a head scratcher. I guess they just have a lot of faith in Agba over Chubb.
Sure.
They probably feel that the difference between like Agba and Chubb is not as great as the difference between like Denzel Ward and whichever cornerback's going to be, their number 1 corner coming into next year.
Sure.
So
now I contend though, if the Browns hadn't let Joe Hayden go, that pick never happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. What'd you have there, Coach?
Well, I was just going to say, so you were saying that Baker Mayfield was number 1 on your list, and you wouldn't have been the only one, but there were a lot of people that didn't have him. They had him at 4th. So what's your – and I'm a Browns fan too, and my reaction to it was a little different. But what's your X factor for Mayfield compared to the other three as far as Rosen, Allen, and Darnold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with Josh Allen, to be honest, it's just that he can't play. Basically, he's a baseball pitcher. If you were going to draft like the best pitcher from the MLB, he'd probably be as good as Josh Allen. So
that's a great comparison.
Yeah, pretty much. Josh Rosen. So Josh Rosen's interesting. So when you hear him talked about, it's always about his personality and like who he is, but he can play. But the thing is, he actually is not as good as what he's made out to be. So it's like, yeah, he has an awesome, throwing ability, but what does he do with it? And the thing is, I mean, he's obviously accurate, but if you look at his actual production, he made a lot of poor decisions. I think he had like 25 touchdowns and 10 interceptions.
Yeah.
So from that end, if he was as good as any of the other guys in terms of production with those mechanics, he would have definitely been number one overall. It's just that he couldn't play to the same level. Darnold actually looks like a very good prospect. So really, like with my list, it was Mayfield and Darnold. Those were the two you really couldn't go wrong with. Darnold basically looks like the second coming of Jameis Winston. He looks almost identical as a prospect. So he basically has a ceiling of being that like Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers kind of guy.
Right.
But floor, and a lot of people are talking about how his floor is pretty much like Andy Dalton with an arm. So, I mean, right there, I mean, it actually doesn't sound terrible. You're pretty much guaranteed a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, as a Browns fan, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. That's where if they took Darnold, wouldn't be mad. But Mayfield this is a very controversial opinion, but I feel that he is the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. And
wow,
if you look at his production, because people talk about it all the time, like, oh man, it's so high, but then people bring up like Case Keenum and like Aaron Murray, Taj Boyd. If you look at the players that he was playing with, they actually were not very good this year. All he really had was Mark Andrews. Other than that, that was it. So he did all of that production with no one. Case Keenum has so there's two different parts of football. That there's the analytics part and then what I call just accounting stats. So Case Keenum had very good counting stats, but his production was nowhere near like Baker Mayfield's. And I mean, that's where the analytics come into. We don't have to get into all of that, but basically Baker Mayfield was just far more efficient. So the ability to play was just so much higher. And if you just look at the similar comparisons, like in terms of like, I guess, analytical comps, they're more and more like Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. He's much closer to those guys than he is Case Keenum, Taj Boyd, Aaron Murray.
Yeah, and I wanted to say, too, up top, Cole runs the website rotocole.com. That's ROTOCOLE.com. And he's a numbers guy. And Coach and I are not numbers guys. We're just like, Josh Rosen seems like a douchebag. Don't draft him. So let me ask you this. You were one of the few people who had the Giants going for a quarterback at number 2. And I was curious about that in your mock draft.
Yeah, so taking a running back in the top 5... so in terms of like a positional value, just the way the run game is valued in the NFL, it doesn't make much sense. But Saquon Barkley is a much different like prospect where he's a receiving back. He's almost like a Duke Johnson. If Duke Johnson was like, 30 pounds heavier and inches taller, 4 or 5 inches taller. So because of that, I get it more. He's almost like a wide receiver 2 mixed with that running back, which I mean, it's basically David Johnson. It's basically what he is. So that looks good on paper, like, oh, you're getting this weapon. But it's just with Eli Manning being 37 and having what I would say is a guaranteed franchise quarterback. Yeah. They might be better for the next 2 years and can make one more Super Bowl run. I mean, we'll see. But that's pretty much it. That's the reason why I thought it was all smoke, the whole Barkley thing. Yeah. And as soon as he got taken, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I was so happy. I'm like, man, maybe we can, have someone trade up for number 4 for Josh Rosen, but it didn't happen.
Do you think that the Giants will be definitely looking at a quarterback next year then?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
So next year's quarterback class is looking pretty mediocre. It's not looking too good. So,
Yes, I saw your rankings.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, before we do that, I wanted to touch on you. You're putting the Browns at about 7 to 9 wins this year, so a little higher than what Vegas went for. Is that some optimism in there, or is that what the numbers are telling you?
So there isn't or isn't. So I think if you look at the roster, just from a talent perspective, they look like that win total.
Yeah.
The thing that's going to hold them back is the coaching. That's the biggest wild card, and that's where it's hard for me to know what's going to happen. Now, they definitely, I mean, if they don't hit at least 6 wins, that'll be insane. I think if they go like 0-5, I mean, you're going to see Hugh Jackson gone.
Yeah.
You
He
think
won't
so?
be there, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm
So were
pretty
you a little-
optimistic. Yeah.
Were you pretty shocked that he even stuck around?
To be honest, I'm not. The reason why the Browns are bad is it's not that they can't draft. It's not that they don't get some good free agents. It's really that they switch to coaching staffs so often. When you switch every couple years, the problem is you draft guys in the first and second round for one coach. Then the next, 2 years later, oh, hey, we're going to, switch coaching staffs. We can't have this guy because he doesn't fit our scheme. And so you effectively lose like multiple first and second round picks. And that's the whole core of your team. So that's the biggest reason why they've been bad.
So you don't think like that he's going to have the same leash as, say, Marvin Lewis has, where he's basically been there and from my point of view has outlived his welcome at least by maybe not 10 years like I said before, but at least 4 or 5 years that I think it's been time. So you think it's this year or nothing for Hugh Jackson?
Pretty much. So actually, people aren't talking about this as much. I actually think that's why they took Tyrod Taylor. I think it's because we don't want you touching Mayfield after Kaiser. We're just going to give you someone else. We're going to give you a veteran. And I don't think it's much to do with like Mayfield sitting as much to do with like Hugh Jackson. Just, can you coach? This guy wins games. On paper, Tyrod's like Browns will be much better than Tyrod's Bills. So we'll have to see how that goes. But
I love the optimism.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants to see a couple of wins more than we do. That's for sure.
Yes.
So, okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your 2019. I want to talk about your quarterback rankings first because that's what caught my eye. And the reason they caught my eye, Cole, I'm not going to lie, is that number 14 was Ohio Bobcat. Nathan Rourke. And so I want to know how you come up with your rankings and are we finally going to have a Bobcat quarterback in the NFL?
Okay, so I wrote some like show notes before this, and on them I actually had possibly moves to slot receiver. So we'll see.
That's our odds are falling by the minute.
Yeah, so he's interesting. He what caught my eye with him was that he's a sophomore.
Yeah,
and typically when you produce as a sophomore, and he did. It's actually a really good thing for quarterbacks. A lot of guys we don't know are going to be good until they break out their junior year as like an elite, not receiver, but a quarterback.
Right.
So he's on that trajectory. Like he's on that way. He's on that path. The only thing is that he's not ultra accurate, and he made most of his production as a runner, getting those running touchdowns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not like he's a horrible prospect. I had him comp to. Let me see. What was it? I believe it was Thaddeus Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he can be in the NFL for a couple years. I can see him pulling the Braxton Miller route. If you look at his athleticism, he's very, very good for a quarterback. He would actually be like in the elite tier of athleticism for a quarterback. So, I mean, given that, he could probably be a wide receiver. He's not athletic enough to be a running back. I thought that might have been a possibility with his touchdown production, but he'd probably be a slot receiver.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, let's look at the top of your list here. You've got Justin Herbert at the top, Jake Browning, and Mackenzie Milton.
Yep.
I like that Central Florida. That's also interesting to me. But can you tell me just a little bit about the stats? We're looking at their QB rating, and then their YPA is yards per attempt. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And then you do like a size, and then you compare them to a known quarterback. So Herbert, you also had going first in your mock draft.
Yeah, so Justin Herbert's the only guy that looks like a very efficient quarterback that's already broken out. He, to me, looks like a Joe Flacco or Eli Manning caliber quarterback. So he's not like this awesome prospect. It's just out of the group, he's like the best of the bunch.
He's also got the size too. He's a 6'5". He's what your prototypical. The GMs are going to love him because of what he looks like. That's why Josh Allen got on a lot of people's. I mean, I'm just throwing it like basically why he got on so many radars because he looks the type, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, he has that, but he has the production too. So he has like the best of both worlds, pretty much. And not only that, but as a sophomore, he had that, which is you really don't see that. So that's what caught my eye. But I mean, a lot of these guys too, you're not going to know until after the season.
Yeah.
It's just kind of finding the guys who are on that like path that you can tell like they go from, they play early as a freshman, they get better each and every year. They're kind of on that like Jared Goff trajectory where they're just getting better and better. So
I have a question though.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys, and I'm looking at them, and I'm playing in my head the types of offenses that they come from, and that was my question too about Baker because I know that he doesn't go under center. Well, let's put it this way: most college quarterbacks don't go under center anymore. So, as say you're GM and you're sitting there and looking at these quarterbacks, when you say production, are you weighing any of the analytics on how they're getting it? Like, are they in a spread? Are they like? Because Oregon's offense is the one thing that comes to mind. I mean, they're all about it. It's not Chip Kelly, but it's still an Oregon offense. Am I correct?
Right. Yep.
So I'm just wondering, like, if you're the GM and you're using your analytics, the offense they come from, does that drop their production in your mind, or?
So yes and no. It depends on the quarterback. So like comparing like Marcus Mariota, like in this situation.
Yeah.
So he was extremely productive. And one of the big things with him was obviously he was a running quarterback.
Right.
So in that instance, I would say yes, because when you run in the NFL and in college, it makes your efficiency look a lot better than what it might actually be.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So with him, I would drop him for that, right? And then when it comes to scheme, it's not that it really changes the efficiency. It's just that because you're not in a pro-style system, you're probably going to take a couple extra years to develop. And that's where I view Marcus Mariota as a better prospect to Jameis Winston. But Jameis Winston is a guy who's going to come in and be better in his rookie contract. I think that in the second contract, you'll see Mariota be better. But it's just going to take more time. That's what I would say, basically.
So basically the scheme just means you got to wait.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm noticing Trace McSorley's on your list. He's 6'1", 195. I am 6'1", 195. What are the odds of me getting on the list?
I don't see you on there.
Yeah, hard to believe. Okay, the other thing you do, and I like this, is you signify when a quarterback's kind of being hyped by the media. And I don't know if that figures in your calculation or if it's just saying, hey, take a close look at this because there could be more smoke than fire here.
Yeah, that's a lot of the guys in this draft because the guys you're hearing are like Will Grier, Drew Lock, Ryan Finley. None of them, I would say, are good prospects. To me, they look like quality backups. And I mean, obviously, they could have a season. If next year they're ultra productive, that's awesome. But the thing is, that's basically what Mason Rudolph is. I mean, Mason Rudolph this year was that guy he played for 4 years. Played till I believe he was a redshirt senior.
Yeah.
So he was, had 5 years to go along and play. And then he didn't break out really until that 5th year. He was not good until the age of like 22 or 23. So, and that guy, even though he had an awesome season, was still in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
That's where I have the breakout age where if you break out as a freshman or a sophomore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's a huge deal.
That's a red flag for you, basically.
Huge red flag. Yeah. So, like Drew Lock, for example, didn't break out until junior year. Mm-hmm. That's a major red flag because you got to think so Jared Goff, Mitch Trubisky, a lot of the, Pat Mahomes, a lot of the franchise quarterbacks, they get drafted junior year because that's when they hit their peak year of production. Drew Lock didn't hit that. So to me, that's a major issue.
Okay.
I gotcha. Well, our hope here is one day Sports Wednesday is a big enough media outlet that our hyping of Nathan Rourke will earn him the slash.
Hopefully, yeah.
We're all about him. Let me ask you this, and before we wrap up here, Coach, if you have any other questions, let me know.
Okay.
In this most recent draft, if your answer is the Browns, that's fine. But if it's the Browns, what other team improved themselves the most, top to bottom?
tough to say. I want to say I like the Titans because they got Harold Landry.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Let me bring up a list of the draft picks. So, let's see, 28 NFL drafts. So the one that really caught my eye was the Broncos choosing Bradley Chubb. That was a big deal because having Von Miller and Bradley Chubb together is insane.
That's going to be nice.
Yeah. The Broncos are going to be pretty good next year. Yeah. Other than that, the biggest one, the Bears. The Bears had a fantastic draft. I think you're going to see them probably be this year's Rams. That's what I think.
Oh, wow.
They look like a phenomenal team. Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right, Coach, anything else? You got anything else, Coach?
No, I that was fantastic. That was really good.
Cole, I really appreciate you coming on. We're working on our interview skills. We previously had a former NBA star booked on the show, and we couldn't get the technology working, and our opportunity window closed. So, but I'm glad, and hopefully we can have you on again too.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back, Cole.
Yeah, definitely, anytime. Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah,
no problem.
We are not numbers guys, so it's always helpful when somebody has a little more insight. Did you hear the whole Josh Rosen's a douchebag rumors that he was scaring GMs off?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to say because I'm not in those like rooms. I don't know, and I don't know how as a non-player, as a non-NFL player, that affects the team.
Yep,
I'm pretty confident it's not going to be any kind of issue, but.
Yeah, but they don't have NFL teams, as far as we know, don't have like a quantified douchebag rating number.
Right, exactly.
I just thought of one question. Now that we got to this, I want to get your take on this. A quick hot take. Out of the 4 quarterbacks, and a lot of analysts have been asked this, but out of the 4 that were taken, which one has an impact next year? Like a real impact?
Let me think. Well, it's got to be Josh Rosen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Yeah,
he's got the opportunity for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, check out the site rotocole.com, and you can follow Cole on Twitter at Cole from CLE. That's Cole from Cleveland. And anything else we need to say about you, Cole?
No, that's it. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you having me on. It was my first podcast to go on, so that was awesome.
Nice.
Nice.
So anything else you guys want to say about the NFL draft before we move on?
No, I'm good. Still not a fan of Baker Mayfield.
So let's try this. Let's have Coach give us an Irish intro into Act 3, punctuated by Maestro's music.
So he's going to finish. All right. Well, what do you know? We're at that time of the podcast when you're thinking, can we go backwards or forwards? We're going to go forward to Act 3.
Nice work, Maestro. Little Rolling Stones there. Speaking of beasts of burden, I've had a beast of burden on me, and that's I was in charge of getting the prize together for the NCAA tournament pick'em. And you guys might remember our pick'em was won by Maestro back in March. That's why it's called March Madness. It's currently May. It's now called
May Madness?
May gifting.
So I had an idea in my head what I wanted the prize to be, and it turned out that didn't exist on the market, so it had to be made. So Maestro, I believe you've got a brown paper bag there that's all wrapped up that you've been waiting to open.
I do.
Open it. My name's on the card too, right?
This is from me and Pete. He's saving the paper.
I know. What is he, Mike?
It's a magic 8-ball!
Can you describe the magic 8-ball?
Because remember, this is a podcast, not a TV show.
It smells like spray paint. Is this the thing you were painting, Peter?
It absolutely is. So, folks, I thought, what better prize for the champion of our tournament pick'em than a magic 8-ball that looks like a basketball? And for some reason, you can't buy those. You can buy a camouflage Magic 8 Ball and a Donald Trump Magic 8 Ball, but you cannot find a basketball Magic 8 Ball.
Dude,
so I got
sweet.
Yeah, I got a regular one. I had to scuff it up and spray paint it orange and get those basketball lines on there. And as I told Coach, from one angle, it looks really, really good. And that's the angle I photographed it from. But the rest of it has a very 8th grade vibe to it. So my craftiness is not where it needs to be.
All right. I'm going to put it to the test. Am I going to get my freelance work for Peter done tonight?
All signs point to no.
What does it say?
It says, reply hazy.
Try again. Oh, yes, definitely. God damn it.
That's good news for me.
That's great news for you.
That's right. So anyway, Maestro, congratulations on winning the pool. I know that you were hanging out there in like 3rd to 5th place for most of it, and then once the Final Four hit, you sprinted out to the win. We had about 20 players in the pool, including a Magic 8 Ball bracket, which came in 3rd from last.
Oh, good.
So there you have it. So if you are a toy manufacturer, basketball-themed Magic 8 Balls, I think is a winning idea.
And you know what else is a winning idea?
Hoopsters.
You tell me.
Hoopsters, a basketball-themed board game that we need to get to market soon.
Coach, what could I do if I just want to be kept up to date on when it's coming to market?
The best way to do that is to sign up for our newsletter on our email list. Be number 3.
That's right. Head to hoopsters.store, or you could go to sportswednesday.com and put in your email address. Be the 3rd person on there.
I'm making a prediction.
Okay.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to push this. This is my goal. I want 10 people on our email list by the next podcast. I'm going to try. That's my goal. 10 people.
10 by the next podcast. Well, guess what? I have a nice incentive to make that happen.
Okay, good.
First of all, I want everyone to know there's plenty of room on the email list. It is not crowded. So when I was online trying to find the basketball-themed Magic 8 Ball, I couldn't. But I found a dozen pens that have a Magic 8 Ball as the button you click, and then the reply from the Magic 8 Ball shows up on the side of the pen.
Oh.
So I bought these. I bought a dozen of them. So the next 12 people who sign up for the newsletter list will receive one of these in the mail.
Oh, that's fantastic. Can I sign up again?
You're going to unsubscribe and then resubscribe.
Just like I missed out on the pin, now I want one of those pens.
Yeah, those pens are sweet. All right, Maestro, congratulations. I hope you enjoy that Magic 8 Ball.
Enjoy it. It's your last.
Thank you. I want to thank the Academy and all my fans.
All 2 of them.
And one of them's you.
I know. I'm sorry. I admit it. I'm a big fan.
All right, folks. Well, now we're coming to the most controversial part of the podcast every week. What hat are we wearing? Coach, are you wearing a hat tonight?
I am wearing a hat.
I'm going to guess you're wearing a Cavs hat.
No. And there's a story behind that. I was going to wear my Cavs hat, but the Cavs were losing, so I had it right next to me, and I didn't want to put it back on my head, so that's a superstitious thing. I'm wearing actually a Durham Bulls hat.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
It's old. I mean, this hat, Pete, I played softball in this hat. It's the only hat I ever play softball in. So I wore it when we played on the Zap Jakes, and originally I wore it when I played in Chicago. This thing is old.
Nice.
Wow. By the way, the Cavs have tied the Raptors at the end of regulation, 105-105, so they're going to overtime.
Oh, nice.
Still time.
Still time.
Okay, so can I ask you this? Is your Durham Bulls hat signed by Crash Davis?
No, it's not. It's Nuke LaRouche.
Oh, nice. All right, Maestro, are you wearing a hat tonight?
I am.
Oh, I want to guess.
I'm going to guess you're wearing your Mahalo hat.
No, he's wearing his Mahalo hat.
That's what I just guessed.
I know, I'm just kidding. No, he's wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers hat.
I don't have a Steelers hat.
What? Then don't call yourself Terry Bradshaw.
I got winter caps, but I thought we were talking. Is that those your final answers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Final questions. I'm actually wearing a non Wahoo Indians cap.
Oh, I've seen it. That's a nice hat.
It's got the C on it.
Mm-hmm. It's actually my wife's, but I've stolen it and sweated it.
Now it's yours.
It's a sweat ring black hat, so now it's mine.
It's yours.
Now somebody has to ask me if I'm wearing a hat.
Hey, are you wearing a hat?
I am wearing a hat tonight.
All right, so I'm guessing you're wearing your Cavs hat.
Maestro.
That's what he wore last week.
Oh, crap. He won't wear it twice in a row. He's wearing this.
No. He's not that predictable.
No.
He's wearing his Pirates hat.
No, a Cleveland Force hat.
That would be awesome. Signed by Keith Furphy.
Yes. What is it?
I am actually wearing a knit cap that is blue and orange with an orange ball on top, and it says Cleveland is the city.
Oh.
That was my second guess.
Yeah, so I went old school with a knit cap tonight.
I like that.
So very good. I kind of feel like what hat are we wearing is the point where most people who are listening to the podcast think, why are we listening to this?
No, they're not. They're sitting on the edge of their seat going, oh, man. I can't wait to hear what hat they're wearing.
All right. Well, that's been what hat am I wearing? We're moving into Act 3 now, where we do our standings updates. Last week, we all predicted the first 5 picks of the draft. I want to let you know how you did. Maestro, you got 1 out of 5, which was the Saquon Barkley pick. Coach, you got 2 out of 5, which was Saquon Barkley and the Sam Darnold pick.
Yes.
And then BMOC, I got 2 out of 5. I picked Baker Mayfield in that. So, and then Maestro, you won the upset special last week, +1, because you correctly identified Buffalo as the team that would trade up the highest in the draft.
Oh, Cardinals came so close.
They did, but Buffalo edged them out, and Maestro called it. And then, Coach, you do get a +1 finally because the Boston Bruins won their series.
Yes. Go Bruins.
So we're coming up close to 100 picks. We're at Maestro 65 of 98, Coach at 57 of 98, BMOC at 54 of 98.
Coach he's creeping up on
creeping,
me.
Baby.
Like an old pair of skivvies, and I don't like it.
I'm creeping.
He does not like it.
I do.
So anyway, the Cavs game did end in a tie, so they are going into overtime.
Okay.
Locks of the week.
All right. This week's lock of the week. I want you to predict which of the second round NBA series is going to go 7 games. And give us a little detail why you think.
Okay.
You already picked, right?
I did pick the Cavs Raptors.
All right. So you pick, you want to go first or do you want to go second? Yeah, I'll go second. You go first. I know what you're going to pick. Yeah.
I'm going to pick the Celtics and the 76ers.
You son of a.
And I have I just think those teams are pretty evenly matched. I mean, I think 76ers are probably a little bit better. They have a little more gas in the tank, but I think Celtics are, I don't know, mature, and I think they'll match up and go the distance.
So,
who do you think is going to win?
I don't care.
Oh, so you guys take both the teams in the East, which I had already said in our early segment. It's the only 2 compelling series, and I said both other series in the West are bad, and now I'm stuck. You know what? I am going to take the Cavs, Raptors, because that would be the other 2. There's no chance they're going 7.
No.
So I'm going to take the Cavs Raptors opposite of you, Maestro, and I'll take the chance that BMOC gains a point with me. But I'm taking that one just because there's nothing in the West that's going 7. Nothing.
Maestro, do you have your phone with you?
I do.
Could you call a wambulance and send it to Coach's house?
Actually, I have that on speed dial because I got to do it like once a day.
Oh,
No wambulance.
Wambulance.
Well, those are locks of the week.
Locks of the week.
And I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. Upset special now. This could be NBA or NHL. Predict a lower seeded team that's going to upset a higher seed in the second round. And I'm also now just realizing I did not research this at all. So
I
quickly.
did.
Okay.
I'm picking The Bruins are going to.
I'm picking the Bruins?
Yes, I'm picking the Bruins.
Okay.
Bruins.
Bruins. They're going to be
That's a
wicked
bad
smart.
pick.
It's going to
That's
be
a
wicked.
bad pick. Tampa Bay's hot. Tampa Bay's hot.
Yeah, it is hot to live there, but their hockey team, they suck.
I'm sticking with my Winnipeg Jets.
You would. I know you would.
Yep.
Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. What are you doing there, Pete? What are you doing?
I'm tempted to stick with the Sharks, but I know they're already down 2-1, and I think Vegas looks good, so I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, going with the Pens.
They're going to come back.
Yeah, they're going to come back. They're going to win. The power of Sidney Crosby, the forgotten Huxtable.
That joke has such legs.
It does, and it's a perfect setup for corrections and updates.
Big man,
So,
I'd share my 6-pack with you if I could.
I know. I wish I could drink, but the big man on campus still on the wagon. So this is corrections I like to call the Sidney Crosby corrections segment, named for the show where I referred to Sidney Crosby as Sidney Crosby for an entire program and nobody corrected me.
We were just being polite, which I don't understand why.
I do like pretending he's the forgotten Huxtable, though. Any corrections for you, Coach?
No, I don't have any that I can think of.
He's 100% accurate. All right, how about you,
right on
Maestro?
time.
Like I say every week, there's a disclaimer. I'm a jackass. I don't know what I'm talking about. So if I misspell it, mispronounce it, I don't know. I'm sorry.
So genuine.
Misplay it. I mean, I think I totally botched Redemption Song last week. I'm still pretty upset about that. But
I am too. What about you, Pete?
Crazy. I just have one update, and it's last week I had wondered if when Mike Moustakas comes to bat, if the crowd goes moose. And I actually have a friend who's a Royals fan, and I texted him, and he said absolutely they do that as soon as he gets into
No way, they do?
Yeah, into the on-deck circle.
Is
Nice.
this your former roommate from?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome. How's he doing? Good.
So, yeah, he's doing good.
doing good.
Doing good.
Good.
So I said, so at least that one got resolved. I'm still trying to solve that Denver Nuggets question.
Nugs.
Aren't you called the Nugs? And also the Detroit Red Wings. Where do they get those octopuses?
We got to get that. We got to get people to answer that.
Okay.
Moustakis.
All right, so that's corrections. That's going to bring us right into fantasy baseball. I took over from the coach. When did I take over? Monday morning? Sunday.
Monday morning.
Monday morning. That's right. And we are currently up 7-1.
Dominating.
We're playing a team called Bear Hug.
Yes.
I think I lucked out this week because Bear Hug is starting a lot of injured players.
They're at the bottom.
I think he's one of those.
Why couldn't I get Bear Hug?
I know, right? He thought he had time for fantasy baseball, but maybe not.
Yes. So we are currently in second place, 2 games back.
That's right. If we had not tied in one of our weeks, I think we'd be
We'd be
first,
winning.
Yeah.
Who tied? Was that? Probably was me. Was that you, Pete?
It wasn't me, no.
I wonder who it was.
If you do if you want to check out our fantasy team, it's still the pinned tweet on our Twitter page. I have a direct link right to our team.
Nice.
Okay, so fitness challenge update. We've been doing fitness challenges for 2 weeks now. I saw both of you guys. Coach, you made it all 7 days on last week's challenge.
Yes.
And that was 10 burpees and a minute-long plank.
Yes.
Maestro, you did not. You missed a day, but then did you double up the next day?
I actually did my push-ups while you were having technical difficulties.
Good
So
thinking.
I'm making up for yesterday, so I still have my burpees to do. I'll do those before bed, which is always a good thing. to do
That's
before
always a
bed.
good thing. Burpees.
I will tell you, Saturday night I didn't get to my exercise until like 11:30, and I was gassed. I hate it. It was
You
like
got 'em in.
in between each burpee, I needed 7 seconds to recover.
I should have. I don't know why I picked burpees.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Well, luckily, it's Maestro's turn to pick the fitness challenge for this week.
Good.
Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Are we going to continue to add these to our repertoire?
I don't know.
Well, we're going to be close to a full workout after a couple of weeks.
This is turning into like the 7-minute workout, or for Pete, the 20-minute workout.
Depending on ouch. Depending what it is, I'm very eager to swap burpees out of my regimen for a week.
All right, well, here's what I'm going to go with. You guys ready?
Yeah.
20 jumping jacks.
Jumping jack flash.
And 10 lunges. 5 each leg.
Okay.
Okay. 10 lunges. Okay. 5 each.
Whenever I do lunges, I can't help but think of that episode of Friends where Joey puts on all of Chandler's clothes.
Yes.
And then he says,
I'm Commando.
I'm Commando, and he starts doing lunges. So.
Clothes, I'm going to do the exact opposite to you. What are you going to show me my clothes? Hey, opposite is opposite. He's got nothing. Okay, buddy boy, here it is. You hide my clothes, I'm wearing everything you own. Oh my God! That is so not the opposite of taking somebody's underwear. Look at me, I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes? Maybe if I wasn't going commando. Yeah. Whew. I'll tell you, it's hot with all this stuff on. I better not do any, I don't know, lunges.
Okay, enough with the lunging. No, I'm sick of this, okay? I've had it up to here with you two. Neither of you can come to the party.
Jeez, what a baby.
So that'll be fun. I'll put on all my clothes and give that a shot.
That's gross.
If I do that, and I'm not saying
Please.
I will.
But if you do.
If I do, I will take a photo of it and it will go on Instagram.
Oh, absolutely.
Very good. So, guys, I got to tell you, if you're wondering why I'm so off tonight, there's 2 things. One, I've been talking into my mic all night, and I just now realized it's not plugged into the computer. So I'm just recording basically with the built-in, and I don't want to plug it in now because I think it'll mess everything up. And then also, apparently one of my dogs pooped underneath my desk, and I stepped in it and kind of smeared it. And so and I think here's what happened. My wife was in the office where I record, working on planning classes for tomorrow, and I asked her if she wouldn't mind moving, and I think she cursed me as she left.
Oh,
man.
That's a bum deal there, BMOC.
The only thing that can turn this around is a good bit of trivia. So let's have a little trivia music intro, Maestro.
Ooh, okay. Trivia.
Something poop related.
It smells so bad, and I can't clean it up till the show's over. I'm captive.
That's what makes it so good.
All right. Got another one for Chip.
Oh, good. Oh. If you're saying Chip, then it's got to be something hair metal.
Yeah. I'm going to guess, is that a Rhino Bucket?
Is that Cyndi Lauper, Girls Just Want to Have Fun?
I think it was.
That was In My Dreams by Dawkins.
Oh.
In my dreams, it's still the
same. Mr. Midnight just enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I had lunch with him last week, and he does listen to the show. And he does every time when Hank says this is for Chip, he knows what song it is. So
of course he does.
There you have it.
Mr. Hair Metal Savant.
So we haven't talked baseball yet, so I wanted to do baseball trivia. And I thought our baseball catcher trivia was so interesting that we should kind of stick with this position type thing. And we're going to do shortstop trivia tonight.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay. Let's have you kick it off, Coach.
Okay. So mine has to do with shortstops and the Gold Glove. So what I did is I did a little research. Okay, so I did some research, and 51 players have won a Gold Glove at shortstop. 51 players. That there have been several years that players have won Gold Gloves, but I'm getting rid of all the multiples. But 51 different players have won Gold Gloves. How many of those players, though, out of those 51, have won a Gold Glove in both the National League and the American League? And I'll give you a range, and you both get a chance to guess. Okay?
Okay.
So the range is from 0, none have, to 5. So somewhere between 0 to 5, and we'll do Price is Right rules. Closest without going over wins the fame.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you go ahead. Maestro, you pick first.
0 to 5.
Wait, say that again?
Oh.
The range. So that's it? There's just 0 to 5? There hasn't been more than 5?
Out of 51. No, there's not been more than 5. And
I thought you were going to have 0 to 5, 6 to 12.
No, 0 to 5. That's it. Like pick a number between 0 and 5.
I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
Oh, he's going Price is Right. That's a good bet. I'm going to say 3.
Okay. The actual number is 2. Well picked. Well picked.
Ding, ding.
I will give you a bonus.
Okay.
Do you want the bonus? Can you name one of them? And it's not that obscure.
Can I just say, I thought that I was going to get the chance to name all 51.
Well, start. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to start with Roy McMillan of the Cincinnati Redlegs, then Luis Aparicio, Zoilo Versals, Jim Fregosi, Mark Bellinger.
Oh my gosh! Are you looking at a list?
I'm not.
Oh my gosh! Did you say Mark Bellinger?
Yeah, Bellinger on the O's.
Wow! Yes.
I think Alan Trammell won it a couple years.
Yes, he did.
Did Robin Yount win it?
He won it. Yes.
Tony Fernandez.
Yes, a couple times.
Ozzie Guillen, and I don't like to brag.
He only won once.
Yeah, but I don't like to brag, but I did interview Ozzie Guillen Jr. once at an insurance conference. Ripken probably won it.
He won it multiple times.
Omar, of course.
Yes.
And A-Rod and Jeter.
Those are all correct.
And let me think. Lindor won a couple years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that guy from the Royals.
He's won it. Escobar.
Yeah.
Is that Alcides Escobar?
Yeah. So that's all I can name.
Okay, so can you name any of those that won one? And there's 2 of them.
In both leagues.
Yes. And I'll give you a hint. You've already named one of them. You've named him.
Oh, Omar Vizquel?
That is correct. Do you want the double bonus?
Wait. Don't I get to pick?
Pick another one. Go ahead.
Chichi Rodriguez.
So close. Orlando Cabrera.
I was going to say Fuzzy Zoller.
No.
All right, that was a good one, though.
All right, good.
That was a good one. Good.
That was
He
good.
won it with the Indians, of course, but also won it 2 years straight with the Giants. This just shows how good he is. He was.
Okay, Maestro, what's your shortstop trivia?
Okay. So I was thinking about Derek Jeter. And, he was starting shortstop for the Yankees for a long time. A very long time.
Very long time.
So my question to you was, who was the shortstop before him?
Oh man, that's a good one.
Before him, I'm going to guess it's not somebody super well known. Am I correct?
You are not.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right, so then maybe I can.
His name was already mentioned, actually, in Pete's list.
Oh.
Yep.
So he's a Gold Glover. Wow, who did he mention? All right, I'm gonna need give us the. Do you want first and last initial, Pete, or just one?
Let's have both initials.
TF.
Oh, Tony Fernandez.
Tony Fernandez.
Oh.
True, false.
He was there for 2 years, but he came in and they started to play Jeter near the end of that season, and then that was it.
He never got it back. Yeah.
He never got it back. He went on. I think he went to the Mets or something.
I think he ended up in Toronto too. Good one. That's a good one.
All right. Okay, I got one now. This is gonna be. I'm kind of glad neither of you asked it. So, do you know what the record is for the number of innings that have transpired in the major leagues without a shortstop touching the ball?
Oh, wow.
And I will tell you, it's more than one game's worth.
Okay, so total innings where a shortstop never touched the ball?
Yep. Consecutive, like nothing hit to him.
More than a game. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say...
For the same team? Assuming?
Yes, same team.
Same team.
I'm going to go 12 innings. No, 12 and a third. I'm going to add the third.
Why?
Because I like to. Go ahead. What do you got?
10. I'm going to go 10 innings.
Those are both great guesses. Coach gets it. For closer, it's 18.
Oh, wow.
It was a 1976 doubleheader, and it was the Texas Rangers, and it was Toby Harrah playing shortstop. So this was early in his career before he moved to third base. And he went through both games without touching the ball.
How is that possible?
Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable.
Ooh, you and your Rangers, Peter.
That's right. So I actually have an interesting Toby Harrah story if you guys like to hear it.
Yes, I would. I always liked Toby Harrah.
Okay, so Toby Harrah, the scout that found Toby Harrah was a man named...
Cavs won.
They did?
They?
113, 112.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Wow, that was the live reaction. I like that. Okay, Tony Luccadello.
Well done.
I kept wanting to say Tony Luckadoo, and I'm like, no, that's my friend from high school. And so he went to sign Toby Harrah out of high school, and Toby Harrah said, well, what about my buddy?
Oh, really?
So Tony Luccadello, he's like, I don't want to sign unless you sign my buddy also. And so he signed them both, and then sent him to spring training. And the club's like, what the hell's this other guy doing here? He goes, Toby Harrah's a great player, and I had to sign his buddy. So he's like, just cut him. So that's what they did.
They brought him in, and then they cut him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a great story.
Yeah, and Luccadello was he signed like 50 major leaguers. He was a scout for like 40 years. I read this book about him when I was in graduate school, and that's how I know this story. And he had this system to teach kids how to field, and they had a concrete wall, but he put a little ramp at the bottom of it, so that when you're throwing the ball there, it's always going to go off in a different way.
Oh, nice.
And and he wrote a little book about it, and then his life ended in suicide. Good times.
Oh, man. Peter, you didn't have to put that in there.
He was the first scout inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Tony Luccadello.
Yeah, and the book I read was called Prophet of the Sandlots by Mark Weingardner.
I am going to.
Okay. So that's my Toby Harrah story. I love that he has this buddy in high school, and he's like, what about my buddy?
Okay, sounds good. You're a Ranger.
I think, Coach, if someone came to sign you, I don't think you're saying, what about Pete?
No.
Sign a right fielder.
What about Tall Sean?
He'll test you.
All right, that was a fun trivia segment.
Trivia.
I'm going to have to tighten it up a little bit. That Toby Harrah stuff went on a little too long. Maybe we could get Toby Harrah on the show to talk about who his buddy was.
I think that's it. Let's effort that.
We're efforting.
Yes. Excellent.
Hey, Maestro, you have some final thoughts music?
Ooh.
Final thoughts.
I'm pretty low on the songs.
Find something in that catalog of yours.
If I can play this without hacking it.
Don't hack it. Nice.
I'm the man who holds high places.
Sorry.
What are you, Al Jarreau?
That's not even a good Geddy Lee, really. I apologize.
Oh, that's why I didn't know
a little
it was
bit of
Rush.
Rush bringing us into final thoughts. All right, how about your final thought there, Coach?
Okay, so watching the basketball game tonight and coupled with listening to some kids, I was at work today and some of the kids in my class, and they were talking about the basketball games and their favorite players. And I made a comment, an old man comment, like it was way different. It was better. Back in the Lakers and the Celtics, the playoffs meant something. It was exciting. And he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. This is the greatest era of all time. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I made some disparaging remark about Steph Curry and all that. So when I got home and I was thinking about my final remarks, I'm like, well, so I need to watch what I keep talking about. So I pulled up a game on YouTube and watched probably about 2 quarters of a Celtics-Lakers game from '86. And wow, what a different type of basketball. It is completely different. First of all, they move the ball in the post. The whole game is centered around getting it to the big guy. That's it. They swing it around the corner and they get it to the big guy, and they all stand around and watch him try to make a basket compared to what they do
like
now.
It's like Robert Parrish versus Kareem.
Yeah, it was Bill Walton in this one. So it was Bill Walton and Kareem. And then the other thing is, in that whole game, they shot 14. I did the stats. I found the game. 14 total 3-pointers. 14 total
between
they shot.
The 2 teams?
They only between the 2 teams, they made 6. In the first half of the game tonight, Cavs Toronto, they shot 31. Yeah. So the game is it's completely changed. But I have to say, I really did enjoy it. It was way physical. They let way more go. I mean, like they were absolutely knocking each other down, and the refs were like, I didn't see that. Like, come on, Bird, get back up. You're okay. Cooper just bumped you. You're going to be fine. And it was fun. Get up, Mikhail. Nobody likes you, Kevin. But no, I enjoyed it because I was actually watching it and watching the other game almost at the same time. So it was kind of cool.
Recently, I looked at some old Bill Laimbeer plays, and I mean, I wanted to see is he as dirty as I remember him? And I'm like, oh no, more so.
Yeah, it's like WWE with him
for sure. All right, that's a good final thought. How about you, Maestro?
My final thought actually has to go back to the NFL. And it's I read an article about kickoffs that they are definitely on the chopping block. And I was just curious what you guys thought of that, if the kickoffs going away. I know they don't really mean much in the NFL, but it is like, I think it's going to be strange without the kickoffs.
Well, I mean, my biggest point is that they've moved the actual kickoff now so far up, to 35, that every kicker worth his salt is it's a touchback almost every time. So, right now, it's a meaningless play. The kickoff return artist doesn't exist anymore. If you're special teams and you return, it has to happen on a punt. So to me, either move it back to the way it was, which they never will because of the concussion protocol, which I'm fine with, or do what they're saying you're going to do. And
why they moved it up
goodbye.
Because of concussions?
Yeah, because on that play, on the particular kickoff, and I believe there's research on it, that the fact of injury and concussions is the percentages go way up. Way up. Because
it's like two cars, it's like a collision.
Flying. Yeah, and it's not always just the guys that you see on the initial collision, but on the guys that run the sidelines that come down, they collide all the time. So I mean,
hate to see it go. I do think it's one of the more exciting plays in football, especially when there's a big return. But I wonder if there's a way they can do it and still make it safe for the headset.
True, and I used to love the return, but it seems like they've pacified it so much that now it's.
I wonder if they could do it
something
more
they
like
have to
they
do.
Start in the center and they just kick it.
Or like
they're almost like in a. They're like they're in a scrum.
Or they just give them the ball and they say run.
How they kick it. Yeah. They throw the ball up towards the one, like whoever's kicking off is it goes the other direction, and those guys have to kind of run back and get it and turn around, and I don't know. More of
Coach,
onside kick every time, maybe.
Check my understanding. Okay, what's this play called when you have two deep guys and I catch it, right? And then I start to run, but I stop and I throw sort of a backwards pass across the field to you.
The lateral, the lateral pass.
Is it called
the hook and ladder?
Is it called a Spock? I think it's called the Spock play.
Yeah, where they basically stop and then they basically throw it almost horizontally directly back over to the other. So they basically starts to run up the sideline. He stops and he throws backwards to the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't know that to be called a Spock.
I don't know the terminology. I know what the play is, but I don't know if it's called Spock.
I'll have to dig into that. I, for some reason, have that in my head. It occurs to me that might just be something Donnie Bashan called it while we played football in his front yard when I was 9.
It could have been.
Okay, well, my final thought is also about the NFL. It's about the NFL draft. You guys know I live tweeted the whole first round, so I watched that whole thing. I also have been given to understand that amongst our listeners is Roger Goodell, and just nobody likes you, Roger Goodell. The sole reason why I think people are going to attend the draft is so that they can boo you when you're on stage. Now, I get it that you're commissioner and you want to announce some of the big picks, but don't do the welcome. Hire a comedian to do the welcome. Just minimize the amount of time you're on stage because nobody likes you, and every time you open your mouth, people dislike you even more.
They boo louder.
And I like it. I liked it when they would bring out like special guests to announce the pick.
Yeah.
Like just do that every time. We don't need to see Roger Goodell at all.
Peter Brown.
I agree.
So much.
1,000%.
So salty.
I like it.
For sure. So that's my final thought. Now, it might seem like I was a little over the top tonight, but I just want to remind you that there's poop. Poop is on my foot at the moment. And I somehow neglected to plug my microphone in. So
you stepped in a Goodell. Nice job.
I sure did.
You sure did.
There's poop on my foot.
Spread all over the carpet.
There's poop on my foot. Oh, yeah.
Stinky poop.
And no microphone.
Yeah, it was awesome. Anybody have anything else we need to cover tonight?
I don't think so. I think we might break the 60-minute.
That's right. We're just about there. And of course, we have a 20-minute interview to drop in as well.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, no.
So
nice.
All right, everybody. Pat your David Blatt bobbleheads on the head and head to bed because Sports Wednesday is done. Maestro?
Hello? Oh, I just played a song.
Hello?
I know you did, but like we need it. We need it, man.
We need you to play us out. The man's standing in his own dog's feces. Let's play him out.
All right.
Sports Wednesday is produced by Blue Monkey Communications and features basketball legend Matt Longley, the maestro Brian Hake, and me, Pete Brown. Some music and sound effects from today's show came from the websites audionautics.com and freesound.org. Visit sportswednesday.com for complete attribution. You can follow us on Twitter at Sport Wednesday, that's sport with no S, Wednesday, and on Instagram at Sports Wednesday. For more information about the board game Hoopsters, visit hoopsters.store, drop your email address in, and we'll keep you in the loop. Until next Wednesday, and on behalf of basketball legend Matt Longley and the maestro Brian Hake, I'm Pete Brown, the big man on campus, saying, good times, everybody. Good times.